Why did Jermaine and you break up?
Oh, Ben, I had heard that he was cheating.
One of the weird things about dating Janet is that dating Janet attracts other women. Girls wanted to talk to me more because I was dating her.
Jermaine Dupri, king of the if you ask me, baby.
At 59, Janet Jackson has finally opened up about the painful truth behind her relationship with Jermaine Dupri. And after years of silence, we're now seeing what really went wrong.
Are you annoyed that people still think of you as Janet Jackson's boyfriend?
No, not really. That's that's an award that nobody else will have. That's my own award.
The fairy tale romance was hiding secrets that would ultimately tear them apart. From Jermaine admitting to cheating on Janet Jackson and being reckless with other women.
Why did it end?
Yeah.
Probably just me being reckless.
To him being accused of taking advantage of young celebrities. Janet Jackson didn't just walk away from Jermaine. She was driven away by betrayals most relationships couldn't survive. And this is just the beginning. So let's get into it. Janet Jackson was already royalty in the music industry when she met producer and rapper Jermaine Dupri in 2002. As the youngest member of the legendary Jackson family, Janet had carved out her own empire with groundbreaking albums like Control, Rhythm Nation, and Janet. She wasn't just Michael Jackson's little sister anymore. She was a cultural force in her own right. The chemistry between Janet and Jermaine was undeniable. When they began dating in 2002, it seemed like the perfect match. Two music industry powerhouses coming together. Janet was at the height of her fame, and Jermaine was the hitmaker behind some of the biggest songs of the era. On red carpets, at industry events, and in interviews, they appeared to be completely in love.
I dated her longer than her marriages, so I have a different relationship with her than damn near probably anybody.
They were the couple everyone wanted to be. Janet with her unmatched stage presence and iconic performances, and Jermaine with his Midas touch in the studio. Their relationship lasted for 7 years, becoming one of the music industry's most celebrated romances. But despite how perfect things looked from the outside, behind closed doors, their relationship was crumbling under the weight of betrayal, neglect, and incompatible lifestyles. From Jermaine's shocking confessions about his behavior while with Janet to the devastating reality of how little time he was willing to give her, Janet's relationship with Jermaine was far from the fairy tale it appeared to be. So what really happened between Janet Jackson and Jermaine Dupri? Before we dive into the heartbreak, we need to talk about the most devastating revelation that came to light. In a moment of rare candor, Jermaine Dupri admitted something that shocked even the most cynical industry insiders.
Why did it end?
Yeah.
Probably just me being reckless.
In Janet Jackson's revealing 2022 documentary, Jermaine finally confirmed what many had suspected for years.
Why did Jermaine and you break up?
Oh, Ben, I had heard that he was cheating.
His reckless behavior, as he called it, had played a major role in their breakup. But it was his explanation that left everyone stunned. Jermaine admitted that dating someone of Janet's caliber actually attracted more attention from other women. In his own words, "One of the weird things is that dating Janet attracts other women. Girls wanted to talk to me more because I was dating her, and I'm a man." This wasn't just a statement, it was a confession. Jermaine was essentially admitting that he used his relationship with Janet to gain access to other women, and worse, he acted on those opportunities.
One of the weird things about dating Janet is that dating Janet attracts other women. Girls wanted to talk to me more because I was dating her.
For her part, Janet wasn't oblivious to what was happening. In the same documentary, she revealed that she had heard rumors about Jermaine's infidelity throughout their relationship. "I had heard he was cheating," she said, her voice tinged with the pain of betrayal even years later. But the cheating wasn't even the only problem. As Janet would later reveal, there were other things that made their relationship unsustainable. Issues that cut to the very core of what it means to be in a committed partnership. The man who was supposed to be her partner was betraying her trust in the most fundamental way possible. And for Janet, who had already experienced so much public scrutiny and betrayal throughout her life and career, this was a wound that cut particularly deep. But infidelity was just the beginning of their problems. Even when Jermaine wasn't allegedly spending time with other women, he wasn't spending it with Janet either. One of the most painful aspects of their relationship was Jermaine's workaholic tendencies and how little time he actually devoted to Janet. "He was a workaholic," she said, "and he was constantly working. I would not see him for like 3 weeks, a month, and as soon as he would come in, he would go to the club. And it's like carve out just a little time for me, and it was hard for him to do. His girlfriend was his work." But what makes this particularly heartbreaking is what happened when he did finally step away from work. Instead of spending that precious free time with Janet, he chose the nightlife instead. As soon as he was done working, after he would go to the club, Janet recalled. The image this creates is devastating. Janet Jackson, one of the most celebrated and desired women in the world, sitting at home alone while her partner chose to surround himself with the energy and temptations of nightclub life. What's most revealing is Janet's desperate plea. "I would ask him to carve out a little time for me." The simplicity of this request speaks volumes. Janet wasn't asking for grand gestures or lavish displays of affection. She was asking for the most basic element of any relationship: time together. The fact that she had to beg for something so fundamental shows just how neglected she felt in the relationship. Here was Janet Jackson, a woman who could command the attention of thousands in arenas around the world, unable to get the attention of the one person who was supposed to prioritize her. Their conflicting priorities weren't just about time management. They represented a fundamental incompatibility in how they viewed their relationship. For Janet, their partnership should have been at the center of their lives. For Jermaine, it seemed to be just one component of his busy schedule, and often not the most important one.
She was willing to come out here for a couple of weeks.
Right.
But living in Atlanta, for her, just didn't really seem like LA. You know what I mean? And me, I wasn't ready to move to Malibu.
As if infidelity and neglect weren't enough, Janet and Jermaine were also struggling with another major obstacle: geography. They were literally divided by thousands of miles, with neither willing to fully commit to relocating for the other. In a revealing 2020 interview on T.I.'s Expeditiously podcast, Jermaine admitted that their differing views on where to live became a significant point of contention. Janet, who had built her life in California, was hesitant to uproot herself and move to Atlanta, where Jermaine was based. This geographic standoff created a situation where they were constantly either living apart or one of them was temporarily accommodating the other, a setup that put continuous strain on their connection. For a relationship already struggling with issues of trust and time management, this physical distance only exacerbated their problems. It meant that even when Janet could get Jermaine to carve out time for her, that time was often limited by logistics and travel schedules. Their inability to compromise on location revealed something deeper about their relationship. Neither was willing to make the ultimate sacrifice of leaving their comfort zone for the other. And in a relationship, that unwillingness to compromise often signifies deeper issues with commitment. As public as their romance had been, the end of Janet and Jermaine's relationship was relatively quiet. There was no dramatic public breakup, no explosive social media statements. Just a gradual fading away until they confirmed they were no longer together in 2009. But while the world saw a fading romance and blamed distance or mismatched priorities, something more disturbing was quietly rising to the surface. Just as the public moved on from Janet and Jermaine's breakup, a different kind of spotlight landed on Dupri, one that had nothing to do with geography or love. Because at the very moment people thought he was simply a workaholic who couldn't make time for Janet, others were starting to ask, what was he really busy doing? Why did his name keep surfacing in conversations that had nothing to do with music and everything to do with young artists and alleged exploitation? That's when Katt Williams spoke up. In a recently resurfaced video, Katt Williams brought up disturbing claims involving Diddy and Jermaine Dupri, accusing them of taking advantage of young male artists like Bow Wow and Criss Cross.
Jermaine Dupri, king of the if you ask me, baby.
Rumors about Jermaine's alleged involvement with these young artists, or allowing others like Diddy to exploit them, have been swirling for years. However, despite being publicly labeled as a king of the peace, Dupri did not comment or even sue Katt Williams for his slanderous comments, leaving many fans to wonder, was Katt actually telling the truth?
Harbor any resentment to any of these entities because I can't be jealous. I've never seen them have anything that I ever wanted.
Let's rewind to where it all began. Bow Wow, real name Shad Moss, was just 6 years old when Snoop Dogg discovered him at a concert. Impressed by his skills, Snoop gave him the nickname Lil Bow Wow and introduced him to the hip-hop world. But it wasn't until Bow Wow crossed paths with Jermaine Dupri at age 11 that his life truly changed forever.
What the you do to Bow Wow, man? That's what I want to know, man. What the you do to Bow Wow, man? Cause
What the you do to Bow Wow?
he was just fine when he was with Snoop.
Jermaine Dupri has long been celebrated as a music mogul with a golden touch for discovering and molding young talent. His success with acts like Criss Cross and Da Brat cemented his reputation as a hitmaker, and when he came across Bow Wow, he saw the potential for another star. Signing the young rapper to his So-So Def label, Dupri meticulously crafted Bow Wow's debut album, Beware of Dog. The album was an instant success, with tracks like Bounce With Me dominating the charts and turning Bow Wow into a household name almost overnight. By all accounts, Dupri's mentorship seemed to be paying off, at least on the surface. But behind the scenes, there was a darker, more troubling story unfolding. Under Dupri's guidance, Bow Wow wasn't just learning the ropes of the music industry. He was also being exposed to a lifestyle far beyond what any 12-year-old should experience. Dupri himself has admitted to taking Bow Wow to a strip club at that young age. One infamous story reveals that Dupri left Bow Wow waiting in the car while he partied inside. When he returned, he found strippers outside the club, dancing for Bow Wow right there on the street.
Them strippers was outside the club, on the street, dancing for this nigga in a truck.
Bow Wow later revealed that this early exposure to adult situations had lasting effects on his relationships and mental health. He even blamed Dupri for his addiction to women. But Bow Wow wasn't the only child star under Dupri's care with a troubling story. Before Bow Wow, there was Criss Cross, two 11-year-old boys named Chris Kelly and Chris Smith who skyrocketed to fame with their hit Jump. Their story began in 1991, when a chance meeting at Greenbrier Mall in Atlanta changed the lives of Chris Mac Daddy Kelly and Chris Daddy Mac Smith forever. It was there that the two were discovered by 19-year-old Jermaine Dupri, a rising musical prodigy with an eye for talent. Reflecting on their first encounter, Dupri said, "They reminded me of myself when I was younger. I didn't know what I was going to do with them, but I knew it would be something." That initial impression led to the creation of a demo tape, which paved the way for Kelly and Smith to sign their first record deal with Rough House Records, a moment that would mark the beginning of Criss Cross. With Jermaine Dupri's guidance, Criss Cross embarked on a journey that would forever change the hip-hop landscape. Their debut album, Totally Crossed Out, was released in 1992, catapulting them into superstardom. The album, powered by Dupri's production expertise, sold an astounding 4 million copies in the US alone. At the heart of its success was their breakout single, Jump, which topped the Billboard Hot 100 and earned double platinum certification. Their influence extended beyond music and into pop culture, where Criss Cross became synonymous with their trademark backward clothes. This bold fashion statement set a trend that transcended hip-hop, influencing fans, celebrities, and even designers. Major fashion brands took notice, and their signature style appeared in magazines and on runways, cementing their status as style icons. The backward fashion trend that helped define their identity eventually became a double-edged sword. While it set them apart and contributed to their popularity, it also became a hurdle as they tried to move forward creatively. People expected them to remain the same, making it difficult for Criss Cross to fully reinvent themselves. The very style that made them icons had become a limitation, holding them back as they sought to explore new artistic directions. After releasing 3 albums and achieving worldwide fame, Criss Cross decided to part ways in the late 1990s. The pressures of fame, coupled with the challenges of maintaining relevance in a rapidly evolving music industry, led them to pursue separate paths. In 2013, fans were treated to a rare reunion when Criss Cross performed at the Fox Theater in Atlanta during So So Def's 20th anniversary concert. Unbeknownst to many, this would be their final performance together. On April 29, 2013, tragedy struck when Chris Kelly was found unconscious in his Atlanta home. He was rushed to the hospital, but the next 2 days were filled with uncertainty. A woman identifying herself as Kelly's friend informed investigators that he had mixed H and Coke the previous evening. She had brought him home, hoping to help him recover, but the situation took a devastating turn. On May 1, 2013, Chris Kelly passed away at the age of 34 at Atlanta Medical Center.
Chris Kelly, one half of the Criss Cross duo, has died in his hometown of Atlanta from
His death sent shockwaves through the music industry and beyond, leaving fans and colleagues in mourning. A subsequent toxicology report confirmed that his death was caused by an overdose, with H and Coke among the substances found in his system. Kelly's struggles with substance were not new. According to his uncle, Kelly had a long history of battling addiction. Despite these challenges, his legacy as an artist and innovator remained intact. Jermaine Dupri, who had been a mentor and father figure to Kelly, expressed his sorrow in an open letter to fans. "Chris Kelly was like a son that I never had," Dupri wrote. "I will always love you, Chris, and I will never let the world forget you." Chris Smith, the other half of Criss Cross, also shared a heartfelt tribute. "Chris Kelly was my best friend. He was like a brother. I love him and will miss him dearly," Smith wrote. The two had been inseparable since first grade, navigating the highs and lows of fame together. Anyway, following his death, Kelly's mother, Donna Kelly Pratt, spoke about the shady things her son experienced in the industry at just 13 years old.
Chris and Chris, they were the cutest little boys. And that day we had happened to go to the barbershop. They had fresh haircuts and they just looked so clean. And all the little girls at the mall was messing with them. And that's what caught Jermaine's eye, because he came over to me and he said, "Who are they?"
While the world saw a superstar, Pratty saw a child forced to grow up too fast in an adult environment. "We had some conversations that we hadn't had his whole life," she shared. Because Chris was in the industry and started at 13, it took him a long time to mature. Pratt reflected on how the rapid shift from childhood to stardom impacted Kelly's emotional development. delaying his ability to handle life's pressures. Prati recounted how the entertainment world exposed her son to behaviors no child should face. "I can tell you who he smoked his first joint with, who he had his first drink with, who he was with when he had S for the first time," she said. "Everything he did, he thought he was getting away with something, but he was encouraged to do all these things with adults." As a mother, Prada fought to shield her son, but she felt powerless against the industry's influence. "I was like, y'all are not helping me out here. This is a kid," she explained. Yet, the environment Kelly was thrust into blurred the boundaries between childhood and adulthood. Once the barn door is open, it's open. You can't put a child in an adult arena and then tell them they're still a child. Prada's frustration was clear. She believed the constant exposure to adult behaviors in his formative years contributed to Kelly's struggles with substance and risky behavior later in life. Despite her efforts, the entertainment world's grip on her son was unrelenting. Anyway, it is clear that some of these child stars have lived lives most people could only dream of, and sometimes one they wish they hadn't. And a good example is Bow Wow.
It's my little man, Bow Wow right here. He's so Def next superstar. Y'all look ready for his album, you know what I mean?
From being a 6-year-old rap prodigy discovered by Snoop Dogg to navigating the highs and lows of fame, Bow Wow's story is one of incredible success, deep personal struggles, and constant reinvention. Bow Wow's journey to fame began in his hometown of Columbus, Ohio. At just 3 years old, he started rapping, inspired by the hip-hop he heard on the radio. His talent was evident early on, and by the age of 6, he was performing at local talent shows under the nickname Kid Gangsta. It was at one of these shows that Bow Wow's life would change forever. In 1993, he attended a concert on Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg's Chronic Tour. During the show, Bow Wow got the chance to perform on stage, impressing the crowd, and none other than Snoop Dogg himself. Snoop took the young rapper under his wing, giving him the nickname Lil Bow Wow. That cosign alone was enough to open doors for Bow Wow, and he even made an appearance on Snoop's debut album, Doggy Style, rapping on the track Jeezy and Hustlers. While Snoop helped launch Bow Wow's career, it was Jermaine Dupri, the mastermind behind So Def Recordings, who turned him into a superstar. In 1998, Bow Wow's mom brought him to a concert where he caught the attention of Dupri, who had already built successful careers for Criss Cross, Dobrat, and Xscape. Dupri saw Bow Wow's potential and began molding him into a teen rap sensation. Together, they worked on Bow Wow's debut album, Beware of Dog, released in 2000 when he was just 13 years old. The album was a massive success, going double platinum and featuring hit singles like Bounce With Me and Bow Wow, That's My Name. With his infectious energy, catchy hooks, and kid-friendly lyrics, Bow Wow became the face of a new generation of hip-hop. He was everywhere, on TV, magazines, and even action figures. Fans adored his playful charisma, and his age made him relatable to young audiences. Bow Wow didn't stop at music. In 2002, he made his acting debut in the basketball comedy Like Mike, playing a young orphan who discovers a pair of magical sneakers. The film was a box office hit and cemented Bow Wow's status as a multi-talented entertainer. Over the next few years, Bow Wow continued balancing music and acting. He released more successful albums, including Doggy Bag and Unleashed, and starred in movies like Roll Bounce and The Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift. As Bow Wow grew older, he dropped the Lil from his name, signaling a new phase in his career. However, transitioning from a child star to an adult artist was challenging. The music industry was evolving, and Bow Wow struggled to maintain the same level of success he enjoyed as a teenager. Despite releasing chart-topping singles like Let Me Hold You with Omarion and Shorty Like Mine with Chris Brown, Bow Wow found it harder to keep up with the rapidly changing hip-hop scene. Behind the scenes, Bow Wow was battling his own demons. In 2010, he shocked fans when he revealed he had been dealing with depression and even contemplated S-side.
I was in a dark space.
What got you in that space?
Right in that third album point. Like right around the third album. That's when I was just done. I was just, you know, my boys get on me because I like to sit in the house. And my answer and my response to that is because I've done everything.
The pressure of growing up in the spotlight, combined with the ups and downs of his career, took a toll on Bow Wow's mental health. He later reflected on those dark times in 2018 when he teased an album called Odysseus, S-Side, spelled backward. While the album was never released, it highlighted the emotional challenges he faced as he tried to navigate life after fame. As his music career slowed down, Bow Wow shifted his focus to television. In 2017, he created and starred in the reality show Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta. The series followed the lives of celebrity kids, including Bow Wow, as they tried to balance fame, family, and their own ambitions.
You know your artist DM me all day today and I ain't reply to it? Are you checking her? Say that. I'm just saying, I'm getting
The show was a hit, running for several seasons and giving fans a closer look at Bow Wow's life. However, it also brought more scrutiny to his personal relationships, which were often messy and dramatic. One of the most publicized moments of Bow Wow's personal life came in 2019 when he and his then-girlfriend got into a physical altercation. Police were called to the scene and found both of them with visible injuries. Since the officers couldn't determine who was the aggressor, they arrested both Bow Wow and his girlfriend. Photos of Bow Wow with scratches on his face quickly went viral, leading to memes and endless speculation about the incident. Amid the ups and downs, Bow Wow made a triumphant return to acting in 2021 when he reprised his role as Twinkie in Fast and Furious 9. Fans were excited to see him back in the blockbuster franchise, and the role reminded everyone of his talent as an actor. Bow Wow later admitted that if he could do it all over again, he would have focused solely on acting. "If I could go back, I would have just been an actor and never touched music," he said. In recent years, Bow Wow has been open about his frustrations with the music industry. He's said multiple times that he no longer enjoys rapping and prefers hosting, acting, and producing. "This is exactly why I don't want to rap no more," he said in a candid interview. "Rap brings stress, and I don't need that in my life." Despite his frustrations, Bow Wow announced in 2023 that he plans to release one final album under the Death Row label, bringing his music career full circle. All in all, Jermaine Dupri's legacy as a music producer is undeniable. But the stories of Bow Wow and Criss Cross paint a troubling picture. As more details come to light, fans are left questioning whether Dupri's mentorship was more harmful than helpful. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.